Alright, next to the Lathe Master, I have this is a Shopsmith 10ER, which is now permanently installed as a drill press. And I'll tell you why. But first let me tell you, this is interesting to me that Shopsmith 10ER was kind of instrumental in me coming up with the idea of the nickname Metalmill52. Because when I first got into metalworking, I had a TIG lathe, and I had this Shopsmith, and I had my modern Shopsmith that I was using mostly for the woodworking. So this one I decided to try to make into a milling machine, and let me say right now, that's not really a good idea. The spindle is adequate, and I was able to actually make a few projects with it. However, I really wouldn't recommend it. It's not the highest and best use of this machine, and you can buy a mini mill nowadays for a reasonable price. So I would just recommend that you go that route. What you see on here, this red stuff is not rust. That's actually from where I had used Jeweler's Rouge and a polishing spindle in here to polish some metal. So didn't want anybody to worry that I'm slacking. Let me show you the interesting conversion when I did try to make it a milling machine, and these items would be helpful to you if you just wanted to make like a more functional drill press. So the spindle lock is right here, and I've got this gear. I got this off of a power drill. It's a gear assembly and a worm screw up inside here. I just took a hunk of aluminum and made a housing for this, and I made a pivot block. See if you can see it. Yeah, little arm here. And you have to loosen this so that you can engage the pivot block. Let me show you. So loosen that with the thumb wheel, and then you can move this. Of course, it's been forever since I did it, but there you go. It's engaged now, and you see by turning the handle, I'm actually bringing this down. And let me tighten this up. Okay, now watch, this is the other neat thing I've got installed here. Just took an ordinary caliper and made another little mounting block here and drilled through the stainless, cut the little sharp edges off, and now I can get a very accurate, if I need to drill to a certain depth, I can get a very accurate reading on this just by turning the handle. And so who would have ever thought that you could drill in thousandths of an inch? Also, I've got, just like everything else that I've modified, I've got the Ratiotrol 150 and a treadmill motor here, and it works great. So I'm not going to demonstrate it right now, but I did, when I first converted it, I did replace all the bearings inside here, and it's very functional, works very well. So let me show you another trick, another modification that might be useful if you want to convert to a drill press. You see this Acme threaded rod. It's a 1/2 inch Acme threaded rod, and what I did, I actually drilled some holes through the cast iron case, and I've got some silicone. I just JB welded some silicone guide bushings on there, and I actually bolted on a nut, an Acme nut, and I'll show you that rides. It actually gives the I don't know if this will show up or not. I'll come around behind. If you can see right up in here, this piece of angle iron, and there's an Acme nut bolted to the case, and then I fabricated this little wooden beam at the top, and I have a handle on it that's connected to the threaded rod, so I can loosen. You want to loosen the lock, otherwise you'll be very frustrated. But I can move the handle and move the whole headstock up and down. Pretty handy. It's a long reach up there. I might have made this shorter or put a motor on there. You could certainly do that. but very functional modification. A little extra square beam there to keep things straight and sturdy. Let me walk up the steps and I'll show you. More about the setup there with the handle and the extra nuts. So that's all there is to it. So that's how I got my nickname. It's about a 1952, I believe, maybe 1954. But I use the name Metalmill52, and that's kind of the reason. My little homemade erstwhile milling machine. A little video short of my Shopsmith Model 10 ER converted into a full-time drill press with very accurate controls and a DC motor, a Ratiotrol 150 and a treadmill motor. Very capable unit. You can go very fast. You can turn it down to a reasonable speed here. And there you have it. I did forget to mention that the base of the Shopsmith is bolted to this little cabinet I made that's on wheels. It's very sturdy. I mean, it'll move, but it's pretty rock solid, and I've got an extra spindle in there. Extra 10 ER parts. Another extra spindle. I've collected a lot of 10 ER stuff over time. But I really handy to have a drill press, because you know when you need one, you need one.